Retrospectors.
What's up, guys? I just finished playing Ys 5, and it's the final game in the main series for me to beat. I've now officially beaten all the Ys games, in the main series at least. And I'm going to talk about Ys 5 because guess what? I didn't hate this game as much as I thought I was going to. However, having said that, I understand why people don't like this game. Let's think back to 1995 when the game came out. This game came out December 29th, 1995, okay? So I think when you compare it to all the games that were out back then, all the RPGs, all the Dragon Quest games, all the Final Fantasy games, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, like there was a lot of good Super Nintendo games, especially out at the time. So I can understand, like, competition-wise, this game can't. This game is nothing compared to those games. This game is very easy. You could beat the game in like 4 hours if you know what you're doing. I mean, I actually did a Let's Play on this game, totally blind playthrough, and I beat it in 7 hours. So it's really not a long game at all. In fact, they knew that they messed up because just a few months later, in March 1996, they released Ys 5 Expert. So they knew it. And Ys 5 Expert, from what I understand, is just basically just a harder mode. I think there's like additional features, like I think they did add like a whole dungeon to the game, and they, just made monsters and boss monsters take more hits before they go down. If you're like, you're like me and you've played all the Ys games and you kind of just want to get 5 out of the way, I still recommend playing Ys 5 Expert. I actually made the biggest mistake. I didn't know Ys 5 Expert was English translated. I had no idea. So I just played Ys 5. But having, I really do recommend, if you are going to play Ys 5 at all, I really recommend playing Ys 5 Expert, the translated version. Just do it. There is a PS2 remaster and it looks really cool, and I would have loved to have played that game instead, but it doesn't have an English translation. Anyway, so let's get right down to it. Let's talk about some of the good things first. The first thing I noticed that was really cool was the music. I mean, the title screen music, it sounds pretty sad, but it's also kind of mysterious, and I think it kind of sets up the tone for the game pretty well, because the game starts off with you kind of meet this girl Nina, and she misses her father. Her father is the one in the opening cutscene that he went away to search for the Kingdom of Sand, and he never came back. So as far as characters are concerned, that's kind of who you're kind of invested to in the beginning. The music, every part of the game has good music. The town music is really relaxing in almost all the towns. It also, I'm a bit of a sucker for Super Nintendo music, but it just sounds really good. You're not going to dislike any of the music tracks here, but there are going to be music tracks in this game where you're going to actually stop and think oh, that's pretty nice. So the game gets a +1 for music, 100%. What else was good about this game? The environments. I got to give them credit for the environments, because I'd say the first 2/3 of this game, there's a pretty consistent pace of you just going from the next area to the next area to the next area. There's a cool waterfall area. There's a nice desert area. There's an oasis area that you get to later on in the game. It's all really nice. It's a pretty looking game. I like the little village, the woodcutter village, the lumberjack village, or whatever it's called. It's all very pretty. I got no complaints with graphics, that's for sure. The last thing I want to talk about that's good is the characters. There's a lot of characters in this game that are, they have their purpose. There's never a point in the game where a character shows up on the screen and I'm like, who is that again? I don't know. I can't recognize that. Nah. Every character has its point, and there's Willie, who's the cute little kid that just looks up to you. He keeps calling you bro. There's the little girl Tara. She's part of the gang, Ibur gang, I think it was named. And the Ibur gang, I like them. They tried to con Adol in the beginning of the game when they first meet him by pretending to beat up on the girl, and Adol has to like pay up for them to stop. But the girl was in on it too. That's a classic situation. And there's even a second part in the game where they try to con you again, and they keep tricking you. And it's like each time they really got me good. Like I really didn't see it coming. They get super involved too. Like they're the gang. Like they're throughout the whole game. They're involved, which is interesting because they just really they want to go to the Kingdom of the Sand because they just want treasure, but they end up being your allies. You know, but they really just want treasure. That that's what they want. That's pretty much all I got to say. I mean, there's something that to me I thought was good, but I don't even know if I could categorize it as like a positive. This is kind of like just neutral, and that the game is very easy. I do think that in a way that the game being short helped it, because I don't think the story is again too interesting that it warrants like a long game. Kind of felt that way with E7 a little bit. I think the shortness of this game actually helps it, but again, like if it just could be a little bit harder, which I think that's why I really recommend playing Ys 5 Expert and not Ys 5. I think it would just be like, more balanced, and you'd have a better time. But I also I don't know, I like the fact that like I never really got lost in this game. There was like maybe one point in the game where I didn't like trigger a certain event because I didn't, talk to a certain NPC, so I got totally lost. But other than that, like there was not a lot of points when you get lost in this game, and I'm a fan of that because I've always said it, like with RPGs, when like it's just everything's just a goddamn maze and you don't know where the hell you're supposed to go and you need a guide. To me, that's just annoying. Like I really hate that shit. That's like artificial difficulty to me. I was talking about the environments and how there's so many of them, and it's nice. Well, the last like 1/3 of the game, things kind of slow down. There's for two reasons. One, you spend the last 1/3 of the game basically in the same area, which sucked because the first 2/3 of the game, you're kind of like going from area to area to area. You're exploring the land, and it's, just you're just like you're getting new environments, so it stays fresh, the game. But once you stay in one spot for too long, that's when it starts to get stale. And at this point of the game, the last 1/3 of the game, that's when they're starting to really do a lot of exposition dumps, just a lot of story dumps, like a lot of you really got to pay attention, otherwise you're just gonna miss it. And even now, I'm pretty sure I missed some things because I just wasn't like as invested at the very end of the game, which is unfortunate. Like really, I gotta be honest, like the first like 1/3 of this game, like even the first half of this game, I was like really in. I was all the way in. I was like, wow, I'm having a good time. I don't see what the problem is, but I guess, we'll see what happens later on in the game. And yeah, it got pretty stale towards the end. What else? The magic. Wow, the magic. This is, again, something in the beginning of the game I thought was really cool. You get these fire elements, wind elements, water elements, dark elements, light elements. You just find them throughout the game, and there's a certain NPC, like an alchemist type of NPC that you talk to, and he or she will actually, make it so that you can combine these elements to do spells. But the problem is two things. One, you can play this game without using any magic, and you can beat the game no problem. There's never a point in the game where like they could have utilized it like, oh, like there's a tree blocking the path, or there's a boulder blocking the path. You need to use a spell to, get to the next part of the game. That never happened. And even bosses, like there's not even like bosses are weak to certain elements or weak to certain, like there was no point of putting magic in this. It feels like they completed the game and then they just added on this magic feature at the very end. We're like, oh man, let's just throw it in there because the game seems kind of bland without it. And the second thing, believe it or not, you can't even use magic during boss fights. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. That's insane. The juiciest part of the game is really the boss fights and some of the interactions with the characters. But yeah, man, no magic during boss fights. Like, yeah, you don't have to use magic in this game, and you can beat it no problem. Another thing that I didn't like about this game, and maybe this must have been pretty lame at the time too, was that there's no stats on the screen. Like, think about Ys 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, there's always the stats on the screen on the bottom that shows you everything. That shows how much money you got, how much EXP to the next level. Like, everything's right there for you. And in this game, it's kind of more traditional RPG, like where you got to press start and go to like the status screen to look at all that stuff. And this game doesn't even have a status screen. It has an equipment screen. So you got to go to the equipment screen to see what level you are and how much level, how much XP you need to get to the next level and how much money you got. That's the only way to really do it in the game. And speaking of money, there is a thing monsters don't drop money. They drop something called gems, which are just like rocks, like topaz and sapphire and pearls and stuff like that. And then you go to the shop and then you sell that for money. It's again like kind of just like it's like there's an extra step for no reason that you just, I don't know, that I didn't really, it's not like I hated it or anything, but it just felt weird. Like they kind of, again, like it's kind of haphazardly like thought out. It's just weird, but again, not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate this game so much, and I really do think if this game was like longer and longer and it just kept going and going and going, I probably would have not liked it as much. And you gotta remember, like, these games were never really long, okay? Like, the first 5 games, none of them were long at all. Ys 1 you can beat in like 3 hours, 4 hours. Ys 2 maybe like 8 hours. Ys 3 you could beat it in probably 5 hours. Ys 4, another game, it's like a 10-hour game. These are not long games. They never really were. So I don't know. I think you're best off playing Ys 5 Expert. And hey, like, people always assumed, at least this is a rumor, that Falcom is like embarrassed of Ys 5, and that's why we haven't gotten any English. Because remember, this game has never been officially English translated, ever. It's crazy to think about it. It's like they just wanted you to forget about it. But they did remaster it on the PS2, and it looks pretty good from what I can see. Like, all they got to do is take that game, and maybe if they want to edit some things around so that it fits with the current lore to this day, just release that game in English. I mean, why not? I don't think they are really too embarrassed with this game, though, because, like I said, they had that PS2 remaster, which came out in 2006, and there's a lot of references to this game. I mean, Ys 8 even references Ys 5. You even have the same sword that you beat Ys 5 with in your inventory in the beginning of Ys 8, like, because Ys 8 takes place right after Ys 5. So the references are there. The continuity is there. Terra, who's, I don't know how old she is in this game. She must be like 12 or 13. She's like, 15 or 16 in Ys 6. She shows up in Ys 6. And that shitty-ass cutscene, too.
Adol! It's been a while. It's me, Terra. Remember? We had our adventure in Xandria 3 years ago. I bet you didn't even recognize me since I've grown into such a beautiful woman.
That shitty CGI cutscene, man. And what else? I've even heard rumor that even in Ys 9, which, hasn't been, came out of Japan, hasn't been English translated as I've made this video. I think we get it next year. But I think I heard that there is a reference to something related to Ys 5 and Ys 9. So, I mean, it's not like they want us to forget about this game. And I even think that this game does have potential. They got to fix up the magic system, fix up the difficulty, and maybe fix up a bit of the end of the game. Maybe the story can unravel at a different pacing. I mean, the game, it really is so close to being a fine game, but it really falls flat. I mean, even the combat. Oh, the combat. How have I forgot about to mention the combat. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Let me get into it. Combat, most of your swords you get in this game, you do this awkward fencing lunge, this forward attack, and the hitbox detection is horrible. You have to be very precise with that. There are parts in the middle of the game you get certain swords that let you do a horizontal swipe, and for the longest time I wasn't sure, does this make the hitbox detection better since you're doing a broader swipe instead of just this one stab motion? And I think the swiping does help with the hitbox detection a little bit, though. Not as much as it seems like it should. But, once you get the last sword in the game, you're back to doing the lunge again. So, I mean, yeah, the combat is a little bit slow in this game. They definitely would have to fix that up. Because think about Ys games. What Ys game is combat slow? None of them. None of them. Ys 5 only. That's it. Yeah, even Ys 3, the side-scrolling game, which some people also think of it as the black sheep, which, again, I'll tell you right now, Ys 3 Wonders of Ys, not a bad game at all. Not a bad game at all. And especially the combat in that game is so much better than in Ys 5. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much I can really say left about Ys 5. I think I've pretty much hit everything I could. Hopefully that PS2 remaster gets English translated, because I don't see myself playing Ys 5 ever again. I do see myself playing possibly Ys 5 Expert in the future. And if the PS2 version ever gets... because that really does look really cool to me, the PS2 version. If that ever gets English translated, I'll definitely give it a shot. And I really do think that Falcom, man, like, give us a real proper remake of this game, similar to how you did Oath of Felghana for Ys 3 and Memories of Celceta for Ys 4. Give us that. I mean, that has to be in their mind. Like, they have to be thinking about that a little bit. I would really appreciate that, and I would 100% buy it. See, it's not... Ys 5 isn't so bad that I'm like, oh, I don't even want to play the other versions. I wouldn't even play a remaster. Like, it's not, like, horrible. It really isn't. It's just, like, the worst Ys game, that's all. Except for Mask of the Sun. Mask of the Sun is horrible. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's all I got to say about Ys 5. And, you know, stay tuned and subscribe and check out my other videos on the Ys series. And stick around. Peace.